I've been on the road, I've been doing shows. Now we eating steak, remember sleeping on the floor. Stealing at the gas station when the time was cold. In the kitchen, hot still trying to flip it out the stove. Rocking fake J's, praying that nobody know. Watch them take my dog away, it was way too hard to stay composed. Fight to see the light of day, all this blood on my clothes. I was tired every day, green light, it's time to go. I don't wanna live life fast or die too young. Die too young. 100 miles per hour, I might crash, cause the good die young. Yeah, the good die young. Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road, all on my own. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone. Write my name in the stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Right back where I left because I know my people needed me. Diamond in the rough, I don't know what it is they see in me. Go down as a legend in my city, cause we be.
Welcome back to Tom's Tourney, and we are in the women's division. Yaka versus Grut, with myself, Tom Stiles, alongside Rachel Douglas. The sun is shining in Brugge. We're having a fantastic time, and wherever you're watching, we hope you're enjoying the coverage. It's been a hot day, it's been some hot ultimate, but these two teams have had some of the best performances in the women's division so far, and we're expecting fireworks out here, Rachel.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an incredible game. We're so excited that we're here to observe. Both teams coming in with an exciting morning where they've had some big victories in sudden death against some other powerhouses of women's ultimate. Both teams incredibly skilled, like across the lines. You've got a huge depth of talent on the field today, and we're really excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, Grut winning in solid fashion. Disco Bolo they beat 13-8. Freestyles they beat 15-6, and their game against Desky, the Irish team, was 15-2. Real demolition jobs. This was in their pool yesterday. Yaka similarly beat Love 15-7, beat Scram 13-7, and beat Seagulls, which is the very, very good team from Hamburg. They beat them 15-9. So strong performances, and Rachel will tell you a little bit about their form this morning as well, as we see the game get underway with Mondio get to Bass. Down the field now to Castillo. Back to Bass. Across the field, spreading it nicely to Delaval. Mondio catches a little bit of wind, but read well by Le Bon. Front of the end zone now, solid per first offensive point here from Yaka, the team from Noisy-le-Sec. And front corner, no problem at all for the French, moving it through the whole side for that first offensive hold.
Yeah, that's super nice, very calm, very orderly offense we saw there from Yaka. That's something I think we come to expect from this side. They're obviously a very established team. They're a very experienced team. They've got a few players who know how to kind of hold everyone together, make sure they're setting the pace and keep things nice and calm. And I think that was a great demonstration of the sort of clinical offense we can expect from them. I think the Grut ladies are really going to have to make sure they're fired up on defense if they want to get those turns.
And they talk about this morning's Powerpool action. Both these teams sailing into their Powerpools in strong positions. A 16-team tournament for the women here at Tom's Tourney.
Yeah, so both teams have had 2 games this morning. We started the day with Yaka on this field, where we saw them beat LMU, London Masters Ultimate, in a sudden death game that was very exciting. They then also went on to play Jinx, who's another favourite in the women's division, who's had an excellent tournament. They managed to beat Jinx by 2 points, so they've had quite tight games this morning, but really exciting. Speaking to one of the captains before the game for Yaka, she mentioned that they expect tight games from here on out, and they're just looking to learn as much as they can. The Grut ladies also played Jinx this morning, and they beat them on Universe Point. So two very strong showings from both sides this morning.
Floor Kalarts waves away the big gainer opportunity. Menard running, Jensen coming for the reset. Flows across to the far side of the field now. Grut with a fast cut out of the deep space from Leninger. Kalarts alert to that one as it came darting through. Well, she was not the intended target, but she has the presence of mind to send it into the end zone, and they complete a hold. Kalarts punches the air.
Yeah, a little bit of a scrappy look there from the Grut ladies, but it worked. You know, they took their breath after maybe a slightly unexpected retaining the disc in the middle there, and waited until it was a good option, hit that cutter going to the sideline, and a nice comfortable score, taking them to 1-1.
Yeah, Monku the target there.
Monku doing a great job to just recognise the space, time that well, and make sure there was a good solid option.
The sunshine here at Tom's Tourney, blessing this first year back, 2 years of hiatus for Tom's Tourney, this friendly, family-run, international invite tournament. There's teams here from all over Europe, from Israel. It's a fantastic atmosphere, Rachel, and the ultimate is pretty special as well.
Yeah, it's been an amazing weekend. I mean, across both divisions, but here in the ladies division, we've seen such incredible competition, some really, really great games. And I think it's all underlying with this excitement that everyone's just so happy that we're back and that we've got such a brilliant tournament such as Tom's to start off most of these team seasons.
And it's quite a big season as well. Looking forward to Worlds in Cincinnati in July.
Of course, both these teams will be attending Cincinnati, but the Grut women's are actually attending as a mixed team. They've split up their team for this weekend, as there is a mixed division, trying to get more reps, more team time, and so far it's working out really well for them.
It really is, and it shows that power that they have. The women here, Lola Dam coming through to get a block there for Grut. They're a side to be reckoned with. And their men beat Chevron Action Flash this morning as well. So they've got a lot of strength in that mixed side. A lot of chemistry as well. 10 Cats sends the disc downfield, but it's well read and picked off. The target was Suzanne Schlob, but it didn't make it through to her. Yaka with the chance now. Coming back the other way. Valle says no. Looking for the reset, sends it into space. Well led the receiver out there. Tisson was the reception, but Lola Dam with a second block of the point. Coming, just issuing traffic commands to Scholten. She sends a big sky ball into the end zone. Tisson underneath it.
Yeah, Tissot, I think, is someone to watch out for. In the game this morning against LMU, she was such an important player, both on offense and defense, and I think we're already seeing her having an impact so far this game as well.
She walks the disc forward. The sky blue cap on her head, 5 shirt on her back. Delaval changing directions and getting going again, but another bit of pressure from Grut leads to another turnover. Helene Wilhelm getting the block for the Dutch. Much calmer from Grut this time, not rushing anything. They know they need to score. Yaka are not going to give them the disc freely. Elise Bos resets across the field. Wind just changing the height of that as it approached. Schlob, but she managed to contain it. Lola Dam, second time, third time, it dips out of her hand, it falls to the ground. Oh, Lola Dam.
Devastation for Lola Dam there, making such an athletic play, really thinking she'd got that, and just once, twice, wasn't able to secure it even on the third go, unfortunately.
Setting off deep. The threat cut from Debin. Yaka at 6s and 7s with their offense at the moment, not connecting, not really looking like the coherent unit they want to be, and they need to be against this young Dutch side. Grut, the female side of the famous youth mixed team that surprised everybody in Cincinnati 4 years ago. Lola Dam again with her hand in the air, and again defense from Debin knocks the disc away. Turnovers are plenty here at the start of this women's division match.
Yeah, I think both teams are maybe just that little bit, maybe too fired up, a little bit unfocused. I think they're each kind of not nailing the execution, or perhaps taking options that aren't as high a percentage they should be looking at this point of the game.
The wind is getting up and it's a little bit swirly as well. There's going to be some pressure underneath this, but it's a brilliant pass that leads out the receiver. Time aplenty to get down there as the defense now. Yaka not quite cutting as hard as they maybe should have been. And a takedown in the end zone from Tisson, involved at both ends of that point throughout. And Yaka let off the hook. Eventually they hold, but a messy one it was.
Yeah, great long cut by Chloe Vallée there to open that game up and to make sure they've gained some yards and they don't get caught near their own end zone with another turnover. And then again, beautiful work by Tisson to get free in the end zone and make sure they get that score.
Yeah, that leading pass down the field to Vallée. Chloe Vallée catching and assisting into the corner. The Yaka side, we walked into the fields yesterday with Arlene Mondiaux, or Rasta, as she's better known to everybody out here. And she was in a sort of calm and reflective mood. Doesn't give a lot away, but she's brings intensity to this team, and she's very, very proud of the work that they've put in. Attracted the talent from Paris and around Northern Europe. There's a few players that have long commutes to their regular Yaka practices. Janssen now. Sorry, it's Minard. Got the disc from Janssen. Bardol gets it out to Leninger. Leninger with a big fake. Janssen from the reset space. And gets the disc to Collart's. Collart's under a lot of pressure there, but she opens up the big arm. Leninger the target. She's read it beautifully. She goes up. There was pressure, and she's come down with it. I wasn't sure who'd got that disc for a minute, but the disc from Flor Collart's banging it into the end zone. Leninger running it down and taking it for Grut.
Yeah, amazing takedown there. I think as they were moving into the end zone, that disc was coming in more or less right over their heads, which is a really hard read as a receiver to make sure that you go up at the right time and you intercept it at the right time. But doing a great job there to come down with that, even while a defensive player is right on their shoulder and hold on to it through perhaps a little bit of contact on the come down. Yeah,
there's Maria Castello running in as well, hand up. And I thought Castello had it in her hand, but Leninger never let go, did she? She was like, oh, no, it was my disc, my disc.
Holding on for dear life.
Yeah, great competitive spirit. So clean game so far, apart from that previous point, with 4 turnovers apiece. A real messy one. And quite often you get that, don't you, with once there's been 2 turnovers, it's sometimes how many turnovers are we going to get here? Both teams struggling to regain the composure. But so far, the rest of the game turning out to be a spectacle.
At least 2 of those turnovers was Lola Dam run through Ds, so I think that's something that Yaka are definitely going to be aware of and trying to adjust to take away that option for her.
Yeah, Lola with the pull as well, sends it across the field, and Delaval picking up in the 29 shirt down the pitch to Kathy Meisel, the Austrian, currently residing in Belgium and playing her ultimate for Yaka, and it gains them the yards, it gains them the field position, and Andrea Zenz sends the final disc into the end zone. Is it Chloe Vallée with the score?
Great cut there from Andrea Zenz to really open up that field, and you could see her see that play evolving. She saw where the disc was received. She was kind of coming under, saw that the space was deep, changed her position, hit that space hard, and was rewarded with that deep throw that then set up that final pass for the score. Really great play from Yaka there. Very calm, showing off that they've got the long throws, they've got the underthrows, they can do it all, and that's what the Grut ladies should expect from them.
So after 2 years of downtime, so many players using this as an opportunity. There's a lot of players that retired, a lot of players that got really fit. There's a lot of players that took up disc golf, myself included. Anna Minard now for Grut, but these players have used it to build really exciting squads. Got to say, the Grut women, having started all of their careers and broke onto the international scene as kids, really, through the junior scene. I remember Anna Minard was 16 years old in Cincinnati And Jenna Jansen was only 18. The two of them exchanging discs and looking like very accomplished athletes now. Anna Minard through to Floor Kalatz, who sends that big arm. They know that's a threat. Coming through this Yaka zone with accomplished passing. Leninger to Jensen. Jensen takes time, finds it as the zone switches to a one-on-one. Back into Jensen, who's a high grab, a little bit of an uncomfortable catch there, but not a problem. Back across to Jetta Badol. Into the end zone and back corner. Who's waiting but Izumonku for a second point of the game.
I believe there's a call on that, a pick call, I think, out of the stack, which means that will have to go back. And Hoop will need to see if they can do that again.
Super flowing offense there against that zone, Rachel.
Really decisive and really confident. I think you saw Root getting their disc through. They were sort of finding those gaps and then would look upfield, throw in beautiful, beautiful aggressive fakes that really made the defense bite, and then find the space in the middle or in the swing to keep the disc moving. But really, really confident and decisive offensive play against the Yaka zone.
One of the things you've got to notice about the way Grut have developed is the roundedness of the team. They've always had superstars, and they still have superstars. But their base level of the rest of the players has just come up and up and up, and they've really worked as a unit here. Every player involved in that previous possession. And Anna Minard now getting the disc around, and a handy one-handed snag from Jetta Badol finds a space in the back corner, but this time the wind removes the disc from the field and leaves a sprawling Izumonku gazing at the plastic on the grass.
I'm not entirely sure, but Mondier might have got a hand to that one. It looked like it sort of perhaps went out a little bit wider after it passed the mark, so potentially getting a touch in there. But either way, a turn, and Yaka have a chance now to move the disc down and try and claim this point as their own.
Would be an important break for the French. The Parisian side in the white shirts. And Floor Kalatz says no. One grab, one hand, and a fast cut from her. She spreads it forward. Anna Minard with a high reach to keep that disc alive and keep it in Dutch hands into the end zone. And there's who's running but Martje Kullen with a score for Grut, and decisive action from the 11 shirts of Floor Kalatz, getting the disc back for Grut. Impressive stuff from the young Dutch.
Yeah, amazing. It's so nice to see, and I think throughout this game so far, where they're getting these defensive blocks, you just see them moving, recognizing the disc is coming, seeing that early, which I think is incredible pitch awareness and incredible sort of anticipation of the play. And these Greek ladies are turning it on. You see that extra power hit their legs, and they're just having that acceleration into those catches, which means they're getting the block in front of the Yaka catch. It's happened multiple times now in the game, and I think it really is a testament to their athleticness, how hard they work, their fitness, but also their kind of game awareness, and they see how the play is progressing, and they know how to take the line and how to switch it on so that they can get that run through D and turn that disc around for their team.
Here we saw in a game that we streamed of Grut yesterday, a disc from Lola Dam floating in the end zone, far away from any Grut player. And then Floor Kalatz seemed to find an extra gear, turned on the afterburners, and showed how hard she's worked on the track and in the gym over the last couple of seasons. Comes back from a fairly long period of injury. While the pandemic's been on, she's not been playing very much. And a deep shot from Yaka into the end zone. A great collection at the back of the end zone from Dubin. 2 blocks for her in this game already, and now a score to go with it. Yaka with a clean hold, and they got that done very quickly as well.
Yeah, really nice and decisive. I think showing the Fruit ladies that they have lots of different looks. You know, they can move it around the back comfortably with their handlers, or they can take those big shots. That was she saw the cut going early, put it up, and yeah, very comfortably received. A really nice play from Yaka.
Interesting to see Grut with some coaching staff here. That was they were kind of self-coached in Cincinnati, and we weren't. There were several commentary crew and people from the press who commented on the fact that there was times when they really looked like they were missing an outside influence. Ben Ort's dad, Jeroen, was with them for a lot of the time they were there. But the on-field decision-making was very much left to the players. And they're a young side, perhaps lacking the maturity to make some of those big calls in the key moments. And it's great to see they've got a manager and a coach down here now, building stronger. Still so young. Ben Orr was with 18 in Cincinnati last time. He'll be 22 in Cincinnati this time. So much potential for this product of the fantastic Dutch junior scene. Anna Minard, the 5 shirt, anchoring this offensive line, gets it across to Jetta Badol and receives it back again, playing through the Yaka zone. Floor Kalas waits on the sideline, gets the disc now. Leninger's available just behind the cup, but he's waving it around. There's no space there. Obsess the options, decides none of them are on. Now she wants to see the disc moved a bit quicker. That Yaka zone, just Mondio forcing the disc back here very effectively from Yaka. The deep threats aren't threatening enough. The spaces aren't being exploited. Leninger turns around, gets a little bit jolt on the shoulder from the Van Wijk. Menard has to go to ground to keep the disc alive. Sends the disc across again. Yaka being forced to move backwards and forwards, but Grut working really hard to keep the disc alive. Kalarts once again. Just these 4 handlers involved so far, and they're being pushed backwards again from Yaka. This is so impressive from the Parisians, taking Grut, making them make the throws. They're moving so quickly behind the cup. Leninger now inside her own end zone now. The threat is lurking. Badol to Kalarts. Sorry, that's Cullen on the far side. Finds Monku in space. Monku shoulders it and doesn't send it. Leninger again. Menard's gone out of the handler space and now lurking deep. Cullen's continued her cut. She's now there in the end zone. Monku, not known for her big throws, resets back to Menard. Steadies the ship. Really exciting battle and strategic positioning between these two teams. The Yaka zone, which has now fallen away and is replaced with a match defense. As soon as they crossed that halfway line, they found themselves match one-on-one and it couldn't quite reach it. Anna Menard really goes down hard. Is she going to be injured? She picks herself up. It's such a hard field out here, Rachel.
Yeah, and she managed to hit a little bit of an awkward angle there, but it looks like she's recovered well.
So, having worked really hard in the zone, Yaka unable to maintain their composure with the disc.
Yeah, that zone was working so brilliantly. I think Yaka might have used up all of their concentration, and unfortunately just immediate turnover there. Fruit Lady's back with a chance.
Menard picks herself up off the floor, opens up the shoulder. Leninger's the target. Can she reach it? Oh, she got her hand, but couldn't quite contain the spin and the speed from the Menard arm.
Amazing throw by Menard there. Real vision and zip to it, but unfortunately just one step too far away, I think. But really kind of very, very close margins there. Those are the sorts of options they're going to be looking to take as they rejoin their mixed team and they prep on the road to Worlds. Those are the sort of options that really open up the field and really push the defense.
Arlene Mondio brings it to the front of the end zone and gets the disc started quickly to Van Wijk. Going to ground, keeping it alive. Castillo, but the disc is overhead. Leninger, having not been able to contain that deep shot in one end zone, then comes back to get the block for Grut. They started on offense in this point, and they still need to score to prevent the Yaka break. It would be the first break of the game as well. Everything going on serve so far. Monku looking a little weary now. Floor Kalarts on this near side with her arms in the air. She receives the disc now. Better flow from Grut. The wind pushing that disc down from Monku. Back to Kalarts. She's got space on the far side with Jetta Badol cutting. Cullen on the right at the far side of the field, flowing right across, making Yaka do the work. She sends it spiring through the sky. Leninger's got time and space. She's got the presence of mind, and Grut put it in to level it at 4 apiece.
amazing play there. I mean, with that Yaka zone really put them under so much pressure at the beginning of that point. The women really struggling to find their way through, were being pushed back and back against their own end zone. But I think all power to them. They stayed calm. They moved the disc. They didn't try and rush it. They waited until there were those opportunities to move it downfield. And although we did see a few turns in that point, speaking to Minard before the game, she mentioned that the Fruit women were really looking to make sure that they're able to kind of keep calm and not rush some of those points, to keep their head, keep their level-headedness. And I think they demonstrated that really well, but it's also nice to see at the end of that point, they're also still not afraid to take that more exciting option when it's available. And I think that was really well executed and a great point, I think, from both sides. Some really interesting defense and some really excellent offensive play from Fruit.
It was a real battle, wasn't it? So many passes had to be executed in a dodgy breeze. There's lots of high trees around this field. The wind is inconsistent and swirly. That creates havoc for the players.
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. I think also moving from pitch to pitch as they have been this morning, different games, different field positions. So it is an adjustment, but they seem to be working it out well.
Big disc comes down the field. Yaka starts off. It's going to be into space. Big bid from Lola Dam. She spikes that one out of the side of the field using her incredible speed and athleticism. Gets a congratulatory hand from a Yaka opponent. Picks herself up, dusts herself off. Business as usual for Lola Dam. Yeah,
Davin, the Yaka player there, really working to get downfield, and I thought she had the line. I thought that was going to be hers. I thought it was an excellent rundown of that disc, but Lola Dam was not gonna let it get past her and put in an amazing bid there.
World-class defensive play from the four-shirt. She's got the hands to go with it as well. That's gone over the head, but great backup play. This is a team offense here from the D-line for Grut. They send it into the end zone, and Lola Dam collects bookends for the four-shirt. She celebrates with the team, and that is the first break of the game, and it goes the way of the Dutch.
Yeah, Dutch coming in with just a lot of energy, I think. Like they know what they want to play. They get that disc down the field. That person immediately looks to see if there is someone going deep for the shot. And I think what we just saw there is probably what they're looking for most points, getting that separation, getting that fast movement, and able to make some of those longer shots from sort of around the midfield, just past midfield, into the end zone, like long leading past throws to open players streaking deep. They really back their receivers. They've got that athleticism. They know that if the disc goes up, like they've got a really, really good chance of coming down with it, and they're not afraid to throw those. So yeah, a really lovely point from Grut, and really demonstrating what they want to be doing on offense there.
And a great example of leadership there as well. Lola Dam with her third block of this game, taking the disc away from Yaka on three separate occasions, and then scoring in the end zone.
I think looking at the stats, you can see the Grut women, as you mentioned before, a real depth across their line, and you can see that on their stats that they're really widely spread out. There are a few people who are showing up on multiple occasions, but a lot of people getting on the stats board. Whereas perhaps the Yaka line, we're seeing it kind of against just a few particular names. So perhaps that's something that Yaka can think about, whether they need to be sort of playing through and sort of working with the whole line.
Paolo Bass. Yaka, distant stack, giving themselves an opportunity to run into that space and take a long disc. Van Week sends it across the top. Castillo snags with just one finger wrapped around the disc. A high grab, uncomfortable grab, but Rasta running across the front of the end zone now. Can Yaka get it into the corner here? It would be a nice advantage for them, having been broken, to get their foot back onto the game, get it back under control. Delaunay to Mondio, fakes the hammer, looks into the back of the end zone. Bass cutting, it's a low disc from Mondio. And is there going to be a call on here? No. Pressure from Izamonku on the force, but a mistake from Eileen Mondio. Too low.
I think Mondio, what we thought was maybe going to be a call was actually just Mondio standing in a moment of disappointment, but bringing herself back together, now going to switch on to D and make sure that they try and get this point back.
They've worked a lot about controlling the things they can control, sort of stoic approach to Ultimate. Once that's happened, you've got to control what happens next, and she'll be digging deep into those mental reserves to do just that, as Izamonku shapes to throw deep and holsters it turns back around. Lola Dam now looking for a second point in a row for this Grut D-line. Elise Bos continues to Lola Dam. Sends it back around. That's to no one in particular apart from Paula Bass, who'll gratefully grab it for Yaka and gain possession. Lola Dam a little disappointed with that deep shot.
Yeah, I think she saw the cut going and wanted to throw it, but maybe didn't take that extra moment to have a look and see who else might be in that space. And Paula Bass doing a great job of reading that and anticipating that and taking that down.
D-line again, big pressure from on every pass here. Yaka not creating the same amount of space they did in the previous point. A pick has been called and it will come back. Delaunay cutting through with the 95 shirt on her back into that space. Mondio darting around, gets the reset. She's going to have to go. Oh, she didn't. The wind did her a favour and just hung it up. Now she's gone deep. Who's going to be underneath it? Yaka underneath it. Good presence from Grut. They've stopped that next pass. They sprint forward now to cover all the options. Some contact made and the disc is going to come in on 0. Very apologetic from Elise Bos. Looking for a reset. Izamonku trying to contain the fast cuts of Mondio. Sends the hammer spiraling across the top. It's caught by Paula Bass, front corner here. Yaka knocking on the door. Mondio again. They're working hard, both these teams. And it's another pick, this time coming out of the stack.
A lot of traffic in the end zone at the moment. We really need Yaka to tidy up and let more space be available for decisive cuts.
Monku taps in again. Mondio looks at the options. He's not prepared to take the risk with this shot. She's going to have to in a minute. She jams it across to the back line. A vision. She shrugs her shoulders in exasperation, perspiration, a little bit of frustration, and maybe a bit of relief as well.
Yeah, certainly maybe a little bit of frustration of the options, or the not seeing the options that she wanted to see there. But the thing about Mondio is that she has just about every throw in the book, and wherever she sees the option, she will find a way to hit them. Such a big point for her, really leading the team through that point, finding that open option deep with a beautiful huck throw. Getting the offense for Yaka down towards their own end zone line, making sure she's there as the reset as was needed, and then finding her teammate in the end zone to get that score on the board.
The sun shines on the pitches here at Tom's Tourney in Bruges. A beautiful city, Northern Europe's home to the Frisbees team, where they host Tom's Tourney every year. This is the 26th edition. Having had a 2-year break, they're back. And they're back with fine form, some beautiful sunshine and some great action. The action brought to you here by Ulti TV, the Ulti TV crew, doing some great work with the cameras, the wires, the buttons, the knobs, the Wi-Fi, the internet, the streaming, all that technical gubbins. And with myself, Tom Stiles, alongside Rachel Douglas, bringing you the coverage wherever you are. Hope you're enjoying it. Do give that like button a click, and if you want to share it with your mates, tell them there's live Ultimate on, and it's a finely balanced game here between Grut from the Netherlands and Yaka in white from Noisy-le-Sec in the outskirts of Paris. Minard resets. Back in the field, pressure building from Yaka. Leninger has it now, getting the disc from Jensen. Jensen's got Minard for the, Leninger's got Minard for the reset, uses her and bounces off the chest. It's a short field, quick reaction, no quick reaction from Yaka. Not going to waste that opportunity by rushing it. A chance to break back now for the Parisians. Can they find a way through? Resets to Tisson. Resets again to Delaval. There's no easy way through, and they're not going to rush this one. Kerr makes a big run. It's a floaty disc to the back corner, break force. And who's waiting there but Cronier is in the back corner for the score for Yaka, and that's a break back.
Yeah, it looks like the Grut ladies were just a little slow to adapt to that zone, which is interesting because we obviously, Yaka have been playing it for a few points now, but we just didn't see them coming back. The way that they worked through that zone in previous points was having 3 or 4 handlers back and ready to swing it around, make sure they keep the disc at a low stall count and find that space in the middle where it's available. I think in that point we just saw one with maybe sort of another handler back, but not sort of back far enough to be a comfortable pass around the back of the cup, and all the rest of the offensive players were quite deep, which I think put a lot of pressure on those handlers there, and meant that they weren't able to maintain the disc and work it around that Yaka Cup in the way that we've seen them do in the previous points.
We saw how effective the Yaka Cup was a couple of points ago, where they forced Grut back and back and back, and many passes. And it's the thing when you're taking as many passes as Grut have had to take, eventually one of them bounces off the knees or the fingertips. In this case it was Leninger who dropped it down on the goal line for Yaka to pick up, and they scored. I mean, that is 1 break apiece. We're back on serve here at Tom's Tourney in the Powerpool, and I think both of these teams, regardless of the result of this game, can still make it through, but it will be a much tougher route if they lose and a much easier route if they win. There's a lot of good sides. Iceni, London Masters Ultimate, Jinx among them awaiting, and Shout from Cusp as well. This is a very stacked and exciting women's division here at Tom's Tourney. Floor Kalarts now with the disc, and she sends a spiralling hammer to Marcia Cullen. That was a tricky disc. You saw Cullen go to ground and adjust her position as the slice came in. Floor Kalarts using her indoor experience, but perhaps not the shot.
A very aggressive option. Unfortunately, they weren't able to bring that down.
Mondio sends it across to Van Wyk. Cuts coming, but every single cut from Yaka is marked. This time it's reset to Mondio. Disc coming across, and a high rising defensive bid from Izamonku. Slaps her hands. She's frustrated that the big disc didn't come. She's still available. Floor Kalart sends the big fakes down, but the positioning of Delaunay there on the mark, just not too close to let Kalart's pivot around her. Monku sets off again, this time slightly less energetically. Jensen with the big arm, floating high. It's going to be out the side. Monku watches it and dies in the sand. Monku was, after she got that block, she was fired up there, Rachel. Yeah,
Monku desperate for someone to see her deep and pass it to her. Unfortunately, I think Yaka were quick to put their zone on, and I think it's like easy to underestimate how hard it is to get a huck around that force, which is sort of a few steps off, and therefore covering a lot of the ground and able to step into those hucking routes that you'd be looking to hit as a thrower there. So you might feel open, but unfortunately the person with the disc in their hands might not actually be able to hit that option.
Yeah, it's one of those ironic things, that mark, if it's 2 yards away, it covers sort of less parts of the field. Or double-handed grabber, that's going to go with the offense, both players grabbing at the same time. Jetta Badol claiming she had it first. I don't think we're going to find any agreement. It's coming back in on 0. Well, they discussed it and they've agreed that it stays with the offense. Cuts up the line from Mondio. So awkward around pass, but it makes it safely into the hands of the 18-shirt Yaka captain. But the disc was too hot. Van Wyk, fingertips outstretched, couldn't contain it. It's down on the turf and back in the hands of Grut. They need to score this one. Jensen, who threw that deep shot to Monku previously that got caught in the wind. Both teams struggling a little bit to adapt to the conditions. Yaka not going with their zone, sticking with the one-on-one. Cullen. Kalarts is in the middle. Monku has it now. Kalarts available on the sideline. Her positioning not advancing the disc. Jensen, low disc, but well caught and picked up off the floor by Leninger, who's had a great game. Apart from that one mistake, she's been everywhere. Monku now. Leninger sprints into the end zone. Kalart's trying to get jink and jive around, finds a space in the front corner, getting away from the pressure from the Yaka defense, and Cullen relieves the frustration for Grut, scores it in the front corner, and they level it up again at 6 apiece. But my goodness, didn't Yaka make them work?
They really did, and I think it was nice to see Grut kind of take a breath, and that last offensive point that they had there, able to just be a bit calmer. I think earlier on in that point, getting a bit frustrated, taking some really aggressive shots, maybe pushing it that little bit too hard. But we spoke before the game, and they did say that's something they're really trying to work on. I think they executed that really well towards the end of the game, being a bit calmer, looking for their resets, finding those options, and ultimately getting it into the hands of Cullen nice and safely.
Well, we are loving this action out here. Yaka and Grut giving us a real spectacle of what high-level women's ultimate is all about. There's pressure, there's tactical switches, and wherever you're watching, I hope you're enjoying it. Jerome is watching. Hello, Jerome. Do get involved in the chat if you want to say hi to myself or Rachel. Rachel blessing the microphones for the first time with her dulcet tones and analysis. Brilliant to be able to bring some new voices to you here on Ulti TV covering Tom's tourney. Mysol for Yaka. Not seen her with the disc for a while. A wave of hands as the 55 shirt of Scholten goes over, holding the leg. I don't know if that was a change of direction, and Mysol straight in to comfort the opponent. Jensen as well, and this looks uncomfortable. See the replay is difficult to yeah, it was actually put a leg out there, I think, trying to change direction quickly, and that sort of doesn't look like that's comfortable for her at all.
Yeah, Scholten just going down there, being carried off by her teammates, going to give her some care and affection, and hopefully she just needs a little time on the sideline, maybe an ice pack, and we'll be back to playing. But better to be careful with potential injuries like that.
We hope Selena Scholten is okay. Just being taken off the field there. Tisson for Yaka. Middle of the field now, Yaka with options ahead of them. Spreading it out nicely through Valet. Cuts covered, having to go for the reset. There's a high stall count, front of the end zone, and a block from Floor Kalarts coming out of the deep space. The target was Mysol, but it was the last-ditch option, really.
Yeah, very, very high-pressure defense from Grut ladies there, and Kalarts doing an incredible job of getting around her opponent and getting a hand to that cleanly. Really impressive play.
Delaval on the mark, but doesn't do anything to stop, and Kalarts sends it to Lola Dam, who knows that disc was coming. Somewhat frustrated, the long time handling partnership from Grut. They know what each other are capable of.
Yeah, I think there'll be some frustration from Kalarts there. That surely wasn't the throw that she meant to throw. That came out very fiery, very fast, and the angle on that was going to be difficult no matter how it flew. So yeah, a bit of a challenge there. Unfortunate turnover.
Elise Bos puts the afterburners on and catches up the ground from a clever cut from Yaka Mysol, the Austrian playing in France. Big bid coming across the top, but gets back up underneath. There's a disc going into the end zone, and Kalarts is just too much of a threat in the air. You can't put that disc anywhere near. She will remove it from the sky. Continuing the flow down the far side. This is nice from Grut. They have it, and they're still flowing. Bos again sends it deep. There's a time and plenty of space to explore over there, and it's Franca Tenkat who brings it down for Grut. And that is a break to the Dutch.
You can really feel the energy picking up for the Grut ladies. They're really excited, they're really fired up. That sort of play is exactly what they want to be seeing. And Tinkat there really reading the play well, seeing how the disc was moving and making a perfectly timed cut, I would say, to receive that lovely huck throw for the score. But yeah, really fired up team that we're looking at with the Grut ladies here. And Yaka maybe looking a little bit less excited. I think they could probably put a bit of conscious effort, I think, into making sure that they're meeting that energy level, because what they really don't want to do is to let the Grut ladies take the momentum and kind of start to dominate this game. And obviously the scoreline is still really tight, but you know, it can easily get away from you if, as a team seems to be picking up the pace and getting really fired up. So really hoping that we're seeing the same from Yaka and that we're just going to see this game go from strength to strength.
Both teams playing very high quality ultimate, and we've got a lot of folks watching online. I'd like to say hi to Eric's son, who's cheering for Grut, and Matt J. I think he's cheering for Yaka. He says, is Mondio the best thrower in European ultimate? Milan watching as well. I think Milan is in Wrocław and probably should be broadcasting some Masters ultimate from over there. So it's good to have you with us. And do share the link in your socials and tell your friends about it. It's always great to have as many people watching live as we can. Moving the disc across now, Yaka with Becker. Downfield to Van Week. Paula Bass. A lot of pressure on that disc from Jensen. She goes to ground, but Paula Bass still has it. Front corner, looking to score this one quickly for Yaka, but the defense is hot. Pressure, and Lola down with her 4th block of the game. The stats are just racking up. 4 on the back, 4 blocks. Floor Kalatz has got 3 of her own, and Martia Cullen with plenty of time to wind up the arm and send it down to Anna Minard. She must have vertigo from being that high up the field. Usually anchoring the handling, and she's almost in that position now. Floats it back to Jensen. This is a chance for 2 breaks in a row. It goes in, and Lola down on both ends. Double happiness. A score and a block. Quality from Grut. They lead this one by 2.
Amazing play there. Really high intensity defense, not giving Yaka any options on the end zone line, forcing them to take an option they don't want to take. Low percentage option, and as we saw, Lola down was right underneath that, and then really opening up the field very quickly, moving the disc down the field, using their athleticism, using their ability to cover that ground quickly, and then taking some nice safe options for the score there. I think, as we said before, you can feel the energy coming off the Grut ladies, and I think Yaka are probably now going to be having a chat about what they need to do and how they can adjust to try and meet the energy and the challenge that the Grut ladies are posing.
Well, that yardage gain from Grut, it seemed to come from a lack of concentration from Yaka. They didn't transition into defense quick enough, and Marcia Cullen sitting on the sideline there with no mark whatsoever. Anna Minard never goes that deep, but she was like, well, I'm going because March is looking for somebody to throw out, and then all of a sudden they've gained 60 yards and they've got a short field for the score. So Yaka, they need to, stay mentally present even in those really crucial moments. And you can see Aline Mondial just giving the team in white a good talking to, but it's an exciting time. And we've always wanted to see how good the Grut women are. They've always played their ultimate in mixed, even through the junior stages. It's the first time they've played as women. We talked to Floor Kalatz yesterday, Rachel, about that.
Yeah, Floor Kalatz was mentioning how excited they were, and again ahead of the game I had a quick chat with Grut, and they said particularly to play Yaka, they've been at tournaments with this team year after year after year and never had the opportunity to play them because they were always in a different division. So Yaka particularly, I think, was a game that they were really looking forward to, and as we're seeing, separating out this mixed team into open and women's works really well for Grut. They have the play, they have the depth across the squad, and they're finally able to kind of test themselves against some of the top teams in the women's division, and they're doing an incredible job and really challenging everyone across the board with the athleticism, the tactical play. We're seeing some really strong work for some very young players, which is really exciting.
I would say also the maturity of this team in some really high pressure situations. They've barely made a sort of a decision-making error. They've had a couple of fumbles off their fingers, but generally it's, you know, Florcalart's throwing a knife to Marty Cullen into the ground. Probably the only real example where you're going to go, well, maybe that was a slightly sign of immaturity, but they've looked solid. And you've got to contrast with that with how the boys played yesterday, the Grut men's team, not playing with the same level of maturity. Paula Bass keeping the disc alive at the end, sends the disc downfield to Castillo, but it's taken out of the sky again. Lola Dam, and there's going to be a conversation here between the two. We may see the contact on the replay. She is so good in the air. Look at this ground she's making up, reading it well, going up. Definitely some contact made, but Lola Dam looked like she was reading that in all the way. It's Castello was going away from the disc and readjusting. Lola Dam stayed online the whole way. I think you're right, Tom. I think Castillo, we've seen her be a threat in the air and a really useful player for Yaka on some of those high discs. Of course, Lola Dam's can very much answer that threat, but in that instance, I do think Dam was making a kind of an up-down play, and it was Castillo who maybe was moving backwards into that space. But on the field, they've resolved that as a contested foul, I believe, and the disc has gone back. Yes, not really too much of a surprise that both players seeing that. Always those sort of situations are always difficult to resolve, and Yaka, who were in such a dominant position when that disc came up, having to give up some ground, and they give away the disc as well. The reset to Laurent was a low disc from Paula Bass, and it's trickled off the fingers into the ground. Big reach back from Elise Bos. Looks upfield, looks upwind as well. The wind is picking up here. They're throwing into that wind. Coming over the field and from our left. And it was a little bit too far away from the outstretched fingers of Suzanne Schlob. Mondio tight on defense there, really putting pressure on that reset pass. And it was a tight window that they just weren't able to find. Not prepared to let this one slide. Not prepared to let this one go. The hard work. Good pressure from Slob again, but the disc lands in the hands of Mondio, who resets into the center of the field to Jens. Across now to the front, and Van Week waiting. Looks down to the end zone. Paula Bass cutting. Resets across field. It's a fast disc, and it's rolling into the back corner. Castillo again is there. Again, Lola Dam, but this time it's Castello who's victorious. And a slightly nonchalant glance back to see if Lola Dam's there. The two of them are having a bit of a battle in the corner, but it's Yaka that wins this contest. Yeah, very fired up match up there. Great to see. I mean, Castillo, obviously there is somewhat a height mismatch there, but really putting in a lot of work and coming down with things like that. That was an excellent take under pressure. Really able to get in front and hold on to that despite a fair amount of contact, I think, coming out there. So good job to Yaka for making that hold after a slightly scrappy point, a few turns, a few turnovers. I think both sides are going to be a bit disappointed with, but definitely things that they can learn from and look to adjust as the season progresses, because this is of course very early in the season. This is I think Grut's ladies, this is their first time ever playing together as a women's team, and this is, I think, one of their first outings of the season. And for Yaka, they were of course at Bologna Invite a few weeks ago, and this will be their second tournament of their season, and they're looking to come into each of these and learn more and go away stronger for it. 8-7 as we pause to catch our breath. It's Tom Stiles alongside Rachel Douglas bringing you the coverage of Tom's Tourney from the sunshine in Bruges. And this incredible matchup that's really... We thought there might be some fireworks at the start, but we hadn't quite expected it to be this close, this highly fought. Jenna Janssen gets the disc back from Marty Cullen, waves away the cut from Anna Minard, and then finds the nice flat pass to Jetta Badol. Moncu coming from the deep space, as is Minard. She gets it now. Mondio marking. Cullen, fast hands to bring that disc under control. Leninger floats it into space. Moncu's continued the cut, and into the corner she goes. And a clean, quick hold is exactly what the Dutch were after there.
Yeah, very nice and calm. We've seen in a couple earlier points, they've worked it up really nicely and then perhaps got a little bit excited on some of these later passes. That didn't happen that point. We saw the Grut ladies very calmly working it in, waiting till they find the option. I think exercising a lot of caution there. I think that when the disc was moving, you even off of the pull, we saw the disc picked up and sort of looking for those options. A few people who seemed open, but they held onto the disc for that extra moment, put some fakes in, waited until they were absolutely sure of the option they wanted to take, and then hit that. A very, very calm, very cautious approach in that point, which is a useful exercise, particularly if you're looking to readjust, if you're perhaps used to being a little bit fiery sometimes and wanting to make sure that you're containing that. A really useful exercise in calm and collected offense that they just demonstrated.
Exciting game, and we do hope wherever you're enjoying it, you're appreciating the coverage Ulti TV is bringing you from Brugge. The Battle of Brugge continues as Tom's Tourney in its 26th edition after a 2-year pandemic-inspired hiatus, and the crowds here could not be more delighted. It's a huge tournament here. We can only see the one field, but behind us and around us there is ultimate going on in 60 teams playing together all weekend, 3-day tournament, and it's a very special atmosphere. But Yaka now moving the disc forward with Valet to Jens. Zens. Oh, it slightly just caught the wind as it left her hand. Kathy Meisel slightly running under the disc. She didn't really have a choice. There was a lot of pressure from Grut anyway, but it was the wind catching that one, and a timeout called from Grut. We get a chance to catch our breath as well. They have a 2-1 lead, and they've got 2 breaks up against the French.
Very unlucky on that last turnover there. I think definitely we're seeing the wind coming in. It's a little bit gusty, it's a little bit unpredictable. With Grut lady right on your shoulder, you need to make sure that you're attacking that disc. But unfortunately, if it bobbles, if it catches the wind, then you're not in a good position to try and make that save. So very unlucky there for Yaka, I think. But both teams may be going to be able to use this timeout to adjust, as the wind is definitely picking up and definitely going to be a factor that they need to include in their calculations and their decision making moving forward with this game.
Yeah, all the footage will be live on YouTube for free and forever, thanks to Ulti TV coverage. We've got Mike Palmer, we've got Edgars, and we've got Lolo on the cameras. We've got a huge commentary team here as well. We thought it was just going to be me, but actually we've got a nice balance, and we've got Corey Sostre, who did his first coverage over in Vienna Spring Break. Michael Paul, first time on the microphone, and our exciting young Latvian import, Didris Maldaris, bringing his enthusiasm and analysis and general just love of the game and infectious voice to the coverage as well. We'll be with you all weekend, and we hope wherever you are that you're enjoying the action. It's always great to be out bringing you the sport. And on a day like today, a little bit of breeze, a little bit of sunshine, some high quality ultimate out in front of us. The fields are incredibly hard. The wind is coming towards us, towards the camera. And right now it's Grut in the driving seat and with the disc. Lola Dam receiving it from Anna Minard. Gets it right across the field to Bose. Big fake. Pulling that Yaka cup around. That's what they've talked about during the timeout. It was Grut that called the timeout, and if that gives an opportunity for Yaka to set up a turnover winning zone, it will not be the timeout that they were wishing for, but they're moving it around, they're getting it free. Not quick enough. Lola Dam was the intended recipient. Gets the flow going now and keeps it going, and just avoiding the contact there with Kjær. Travel called. Rika Kjær calling that disc back and allowing the Yaka zone to set up again, and they've transitioned to a one-on-one. I think that will be in the preference for Grut at this stage. They've not enjoyed playing against the Yaka zone, and it was looking effective again there. That's shots to no one in particular. Kjær, quick hits to react, and she gets the disc down to Meisel. Meisel, flat disc, and it's caught in stride. Kjær again has it. Sends it back to Cronier. Rolls the curve around the wind. Delaval collects on the halfway mark. Plenty of action to come as the disc makes its way down to Kathy Meisel. Sends the inside shot to the back of the end zone. It's going to hang in the air, but there's so much time and there's so much space. And I think it was Andrea Zenz.
First time for Zenz to get a goal this game after 2 assists, so it's always nice when you see those stats diversifying a little bit, but she was very free, and it was great that they were able to find the shot to hit her with a real sort of floating pass with a little touch on it that just floated over her head, and she could just reach up her hands and it would gently fall into them.
Meisel, when we first covered it, she played with Hamburg and Seagulls for a while. I remember covering her first game in Wrocław at the tournament there, and we refer to her as the Meisel missile because she has such good deep shots, particularly on her flick. But she's incredibly quick around the field as well.
Demonstrating a huge amount of range this game, I think, on the disc, downfield. Definitely a name that we've said multiple times throughout the coverage, which normally is the sign that you're doing quite a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to go back to the Yaka zone, I think the zone they've been putting on is incredibly effective. What we saw in that last point was a really, really brutal shutdown of the movement, not giving the Greek ladies any space to work. And if they didn't get the turn in the zone, then even when they switched to person defense, in that transition, Greek were just a little bit thrown off, a little bit unable to recover, and ended up with a turnover after that transition happened.
So the time is up. So if this disc goes in for Grut, they will win the game. If Yaka manage to score, then it will be a sudden death game. It's all down to this. For the game, Minard gets the disc back from Kalatz. Swinging it round the back with Jetta Badol, and on the far side, Janssen, who knives the disc across to Kalatz. Threatens the deep option, but pops it forward to Menard. No taking any chances now. Badol to Jensen. This is nice from Grut. Back to Badol, but they're being forced back again. They're running a little bit tired here. Kalatz not cutting forward into that space. Floating it around the back. Marcia Cullen reacts fastest to keep that one alive. There's a high stall count disc if ever I saw one. Badol again going back around, but there's no reset on this near side. The Yaka zone can only just force them backwards, and they need to get this movement using the full width of the field. Menard looking to find that shot. Janssen gets it across to Cullen. Floor Kalatz in the middle of the field, but she's fairly static at the moment. They need to get some spark into this game. Janssen waves another big fake, but nobody buys that. Floating it through. Now Kalatz finds that little gap. Again, sends the big fake. As soon as it gets over halfway, expect Yaka to transition to a one-on-one. But they need to get it over that mark first. Leninger lurking in the backfield. Back to Jensen. They need to get the flow. The gaps are still not there from Yaka. They're keeping this zone so tight. A flick across the top, using that lack of wind. Yaka sprint to fill the gap. Kalatz on that far wing. Signaling, but Mondio just lurking. She seems like a threat even when she's nearby. Such a presence, and so reads the game so well. No one trusts their throws around her. And it's going backwards again. They've made all that work. Gets it to Janssen. Janssen to Kalatz. Kalatz looks to the throw. She sends her, and Issa Monku brings it in for Grut. They've won this one. The pressure from Yaka was so present. And Floor Kalatz puts it into the end zone. Issa Monku has been an ever-present threat deep, making it pay for the last one. And Grut win this 10-8.
Incredible, incredible victory there for Fruit Women. Monku finally getting rewarded. You know, we've seen her making that deep cut so many times throughout the game. A few times the disc has gone to her, a couple times it hasn't. That time getting rewarded for her hard work, receiving the disc in the end zone for the score and the game. Fruit Women really showing a lot of patience in that final point. Also a lot of fearlessness. You know, this is for the game and we're still seeing some quite aggressive shots, quite aggressive resets, which I guess were necessary because the Yaka zone, the Yaka defense put them under so much pressure, really was working so well to keep them back, push them into the backfield. But Fruit Women really just showing a class example of how to stay calm, move the disc, play your own game and find the opportunities where they come, and just a beautiful, beautiful point on which to end the game.
Yeah, Floor Klotz and Lola Dam, the stat leaders with 7 blocks between them and 4 assists. And on the reception end, Isumon Ku doing the hard work with the legs and getting herself free. But it was a team effort from Grut, really showing how they've advanced as a squad, bringing the level up and not relying on their big superstars as much as they have in the past. They are a strong force, and we only get to see them normally in mixed. What a treat to be out here in Tom's Tourney. We hope wherever you've been watching, you've enjoyed the coverage. From Rachel Douglas, myself, Tom Styles, and the whole Ulti TV crew. From Tom's Tourney, it's goodbye for now. There's more action coming up, and do stay with us all weekend. For our next game, it's going to be coming up in just a minute. It's a men's pre-quarter final with Michael Paul and Corey Sostre. So do join us, Ren, and we'll be back in a second.
Merci beaucoup.
Ulti.tv